Am I my brother's keeper? Yes, I am. Am I my brother's keeper? Yes, I am. Am I my brother's keeper? Yes, I am.
Nino Brown Boxing, and I'm back in the building. Shout out to the LDBC. Don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe. So, I'm up early in the morning on a Thursday, driving into the city, and I started thinking about the middleweight division. Started thinking about Jermall Charlo. Now, the reason this topic popped up in my head is for the simple fact I want to see what the WBC is going to do, and I want to see what PBC is going to do. So those two thoughts basically came up because, let's just say, WBC ordered Gennady Golovkin to face Jermall Charlo in order to get a rematch. So I'm like, okay, we got it. It looks like Triple G is going in a completely different direction. It's like he's going after this Japanese guy, and it's 14-1, and he wants no parts of Charlo. Now, a lot of people were probably out there saying that Triple G wouldn't duck Charlo. Who has Charlo fought? Well, obviously, at this point in time, the WBC feels that Charlo has fought enough people and has a good enough resume in order to fight Triple G at this point in time. Remember, the same Triple G, when he was still the WBC champion, was trying to fight Jaime Munguia, and that fight got scrapped altogether. So, with that being said, it has me thinking to myself, like, what's going to happen? So let's just say, Canelo wins his next fight against the Rocky Fielding guy. Charlo, I think he's going to have like a homecoming fight. He wins his next fight. And Triple G, for whatever reason, he didn't decide to take the Charlo fight. So, he, let's just say for some reason he's still there. We're back at square one again. Triple G doesn't take the... First of all, I want to see how the WBC is going to handle Triple G not taking that fight. And secondly, I want to figure out, okay, well, what's the next step when it comes to Jermall Charlo? 1 second, guys, 1 second. So I want to figure out what's the next step when it comes to Jermall Charlo. And by that I mean, by the next step, I mean, I want to figure out if the WBC is going to stand their ground, and see how they handle the Canelo Alvarez situation. Now we know Canelo just signed that big multi-million-dollar multi-fight deal with DAZN, and I'm trying to figure out if the situation was to come up, and the WBC ordered Canelo to face Jermall Charlo, what will happen? Let's just say they ordered the fight, they're trying to negotiate, and we all know the first thing they're going to say is, well, you got to come to the zone. Now, this is where the PBC comes in, because to my understanding, the way all of this works is it'll go to a purse bid. Now, this is the point where I'm trying to see how serious will the PBC be when it comes to backing Jermall Charlo? How committed is the BBC when it comes to Jermall Charlo's future? It's at this point, if I'm Jermall Charlo and I'm looking at DAZN and Golden Boy, I don't know, I'm assuming DAZN would help Golden Boy put up money, or I don't know if they're even allowed to, whatever the case may be. Will PBC go out of their way for Jermall Charlo to secure a fight with Canelo Alvarez by winning the purse bid? That's one. Secondly, I'm wondering, I took all the good parking spaces. Secondly, I'm wondering if they're not willing to do that for Jermall Charlo, and Jermall Charlo is forced to take that fight on the zone. Let's just say Canelo and Golden Boy calls Charlo's bluff, and they're under the impression like, well, Charlo doesn't want to come over here and fight. At this point, does Charlo decide to say, you know what, it's time to leave PBC and let me get my own multi-fight deal with DAZN? Because instead of fighting on DAZN and I'm not locked in, well, I don't have a multi-fight deal, why not get a multi-fight deal, fight Canelo, and keep it moving? Now, obviously, yes, this is all based on, it's all based on a few things happening. It's based on the zone actually being interested in signing Charlo. That's one. Two, it will be based on if Canelo decides not to vacate. And it's all based on if the PBC doesn't back their fighter and go out of their way to win a purse bid. And the last thing it is based on is if the WBC orders to fight anyway. Now, I know a lot of boxes have to be checked in order for this particular situation to come to fruition. But when it comes to the situation where no one's ducking any smoke, Canelo's obviously with DAZN, Charlo's obviously with PBC, WBC, they do what they supposed to do and they order the fight because Charlo is the mandatory, and it goes to a purse bid, and it's a chance that Charlo and the PBC would lose the purse bid. If he's able to get that type of information prior to the purse bid happening, if I'm Charlo, I'm saying, you know what, PBC, I've watched how you all handled a lot of your fighters, and even though the stable is deep, you don't go out of your way to give your guy the fights that they want. Even though Charlo's situation is different from, let's say, an Errol Spence, it's just, at this point, it's pointless. In that situation, in that point in time, when all options have been exhausted, if I'm Jermall Charlo, I'll sign a 3 to 5 fight deal with DAZN to put myself in a position where I can fight Canelo, where I can fight Jacobs, where I can fight Andrade, and if I'm the best, then I'll come out on top. And if I'm not the best, it is what it is. I got my money, and I at least tried. But sitting around wondering what's going to happen, like, it's no threats at middleweight for the PBC side. It's no middleweights on the PBC side that can really create a legendary career and establish a legacy for Jermall Charlo. Now, that's not the same situation for Errol Spence, but for Jermall Charlo, I'm in a situation where it's like, okay, it's time for me to make the best decision for myself and for my career. And if they're not going to put me in the best position and they're not going to back me to the fullest, if they're not going to go out of their way to make me a main event headliner, and like, what am I waiting for? So I guess the main question is, if all of these boxes are checked, should Jermall Charlo make a decision to go after his own multi-fight deal with DAZN? This is Nino Brown Boxing. Shout out to the LDBC, and I'm gone.